3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Dan here again, May 31st, 2018. I hope you're doing well. Wanted to do a video. I want to talk about a couple things, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and I want to start off, and let's just jump right in. I want to talk about Bitcoin to start. And I guess when I say Bitcoin, I'm talking about in general the market long term. And I just feel like Bitcoin can be a very good foundation to build this conversation on. And this conversation is long-term holding when investing in cryptocurrency. And the question is, are you long? And I think it's a very important question to ask. And it's easy to say, I'm long. I'm long, but the price goes down and you might freak out, you might panic. So the question is, are you long? And if you are long, is your long-term investment something that you can afford right now? That's the question to ask. So let's jump right into the charts on Bitcoin and let's talk about this real quick. So maybe we've established that you are long, right, in cryptocurrency, but I want to define what that means to be a long-term investor. And so what I want to do is I want to go back on Bitcoin charts. We're going to use Bitcoin because it does a really good job here of doing this. You're long on Bitcoin, you're long on Litecoin, you're long on crypto. But are you long even if price continues to go down right now? And I think that will really help solidify your position and even your comfort levels in the market. And it also helps in terms of kind of gauging if you have too much money invested in the market right now. Because when you really take a reality check and you zoom out on the charts and you see all angles and what's possible, it really helps you become a wiser investor. And in the long term, you're going to make more money that way anyway. So what I want to do is I want to go back to the bear market to really open up this conversation real quick as we do this. And I want to try and cruise through this because I want to go over Litecoin real quick as well. But bear market, right? And what I want to use in this illustration is I want to use the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA and the movement of those averages when we entered this long-term bear market. And let's do it. So we first had the 50 cross the 200 right around 4 months after the top, right? And then we kind of cruised back above. I'm sure the market was probably feeling bullish at this time. And then we cruised back below. So the 50 cruised back below the 200 EMA. And from there, you can see that was August 2014 to August 2015. That was a year-long downtrend. So I want to take that example and I want you to put yourself right here. In that position, if you were long on Bitcoin at $496 or so, are you comfortable with this move down to $180 a year later? Are you that long? And I think it's an important question to ask yourself. And what I'm trying to do here is correlate this to where we are now. Similarly, we're not at this point yet, but we're getting close to a very critical point in the market right now. A lot has changed, and we'll talk about that. Especially, you can see the convergence of the 50 and 200. It's not as separated as it was years ago when this happened, but right now we have this all-time high similar to what we had in 2013, beginning 2014. 4 months later, we have that first cross of the 50 over the 200, which we had, and I'm going to go back there even though it's a little annoying. There's that first cross 4 months after the top. And then 4 months after that, we had the second cross. So let's go back to where we are today, right? So 4 months from the high, we have this cross, and not 4 months later, but like a month and a half later, we have a second cross of the 50 crossing the 200 EMA. Now, a couple things are different. One, a very important thing that's different is this continuation pattern of these higher lows and these lower highs. That was not the case back then. The consolidation that we've had is way different than what was happening back then. Additionally, we have way more things happening right now in the market. We have actual adoption happening right now, banks becoming open, big money maybe getting ready to come in. So it's a little bit different. But what I want to ask you right now is, and maybe this is a little drawn out way to do this, but if we don't get momentum back in an upward direction, and the 50 just continues going, separating from the 200. And we have a long-term, if we have a long-term bear market again, right? So like last time when we had this cross at the beginning of last bear market, it lasted a year, right, to that bottom. So right now it's May 2018. The question is, would you be comfortable going all the way out here? I mean, I guess I could probably zoom out just to right here. And if we had that just a downtrend, are you comfortable with your long position? That's my question. It's a very important question. I always talk about the downside. I always talk about the bear market scenario. Are you ready? Don't spend more than you can afford to lose. But I wanted to paint the picture. I wanted to illustrate a little bit because I think it's an important conversation to have. It's in any market, real estate, stock market, this market. Are you willing to take a hit on your original investment? And if you are, then you truly are long. But ask yourself, are you long? And are you comfortable with a scenario like this? Because it's a possible scenario. Do I think it will happen? I don't. However, it could. So that's kind of that right now. I wanted to start off with that. And right now you can see the continued consolidation with Bitcoin. And it really plays into Litecoin charts. But I'm going to really focus on, we can start on the daily. I'm going to move over to the 4 hour in a second. But looking at the daily, you can see we're trying to solidify this third bottom, which is a higher low in this long-term continuation pattern, right? It's a little less defined than Bitcoin, but it's there. And we're seeing if we can solidify it. And I kind of said this yesterday with this little V movement, right? The bottom, and then we make a move back up with higher highs and higher lows. So right now, again, we're right testing that 40 line on the RSI. I want to see if we can get some momentum to approach that and hopefully break it and start forming these higher highs and higher lows. And at the same time, we talked about this yesterday, we still see this convergence of the MACD line on the red signal line on the MACD. So I like using the MACD at times like this where we're really trying to form a bottom and have some type of reversal here with Litecoin. So going to the 4 hour, we can really see it. I tweeted a little bit earlier. Let me go to that. Let me bring it up. But I tweeted, and I was basically talking about the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. I said, I'd be convinced we found a bottom if we could get over this resistance at the 50 EMA on the 4 hour chart. And you can see there's just been a ton of resistance. Right now, $121 is that area. This was earlier today. We were at 119. Then I said a bull run through 135 to form a higher high above the 200 EMA would ultra convince me. And that is kind of where I stand right now. So back to the 4 hour, that's the daily. Here's the 4 hour. So right around 133, you see that 200 EMA. If we get a run, I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but if we get it, and we approach it and we break it above this 200 EMA, then I'm going to be ultra bullish and I'll be ultra convinced that we found a bottom here. And really it would be a triple bottom. Now we're far away from that happening because we've seen a lot of resistance, continued resistance at this 50 EMA, which you see all the way down on these lower highs, this resistance that continues to happen. But right now, we are kind of at this point where we're going to see if we can break that 50 EMA. So time will tell, but it's something to look out for tonight. And you can kind of go to the 1 hour and dig into that a little bit, and we'll see what happens. So I figured I'd throw that little technical analysis out there for you, but curious, are you long? Are you truly long? And are you comfortably long with your investment in not just Bitcoin? I know we use Bitcoin, but any cryptocurrency. A lot going on in this market. And, along with that question, do you think a bear market, a long-term bear market like we had before, maybe another year of a downward trend, do you think that's possible? It's a conversation to be had. It's not something to be scared of if you're being wise with your investment, but I think it's important to just kind of cover a little bit, have a conversation about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really appreciate you. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the channel. As always, I will see you in the next video, and God bless.